Good morning, 9 a.m. What's up? Listen, this happens to me every year at Christmas when the kids sing. Like, my face hurts right now from smiling. And my kids weren't even up here. They're in the next service. And there's two kids I want to point out, and I know who's one of the kids was, but there was a cow right here with a guitar. You guys, take him to IHOP after this. Let him get the chocolate chips in his pancakes, the caramel, all the stuff. Man, that kid is a riot. That was awesome. And then my buddy's son, Moses, his literal name's Moses. He wasn't Moses, the character up here. Like, Moses was awesome up here. Just love the kids. That was so much fun. And you guys look, well, you know, it's Ugly Christmas Sunday, so you look today. Way to look, you know. And I don't know, I know we have a lot of overflow seating out there. There might be some people I can't look at right now. Are there people out in overflow right now? Make some noise if you're out there. Love that. Hey, thank you for being in overflow. We're pumped to have you. And guys, I am so excited about today. I am more excited about today than a cheapskate standing in line at the Black Friday deal at Agave over here. By the way, who's done it? Who's been in that line before, or any Black Friday line before? I know there's some cheapskates in the room like me. But listen, quick disclaimer. Maybe you came to church today to hear a sermon. I don't got a sermon for you, okay? Come back in January. I'm going to preach the paint off these basement walls, all right? I think. But today's more like a Christmas present. Anybody want a Christmas present today? All right, and I'm going to be Santa, and I got a big old gift for you, but just to mess with you, I'm going to wait till the very last moment to show you the gift. But just a little spoiler alert, just so you know what the gift is. Today we are revealing what our new future building is going to look like. Woo! I can't wait, but just hold your horses, because I'm going to tell you about it later. I'm going to draw this thing out as long as possible. You got to listen to the old man on the stage reminisce about the past for a while, and then Cotter's going to come up here and say something, and Nate's going to come up here and say something, and Kristen's going to come up here and say something. And isn't that just like Christmas at your house when you were a kid? You had to wait till the very end. But let's get started. I need you all to jump in a DeLorean with me, like a time machine. We got to go back, all the way back to 2013. Some of you are like, that's not that long ago. But in 2013, some amazing things happened. First off, one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time, Elf, turned 10 years old. Don't you just love Elf? Another thing that happened in 2013 is God's favorite football team won the Super Bowl, the Baltimore Ravens. Come on. Don't worry about it. I will say what needs to be said, Eagles fans. And in 2013, I got offered a brand new job to be the campus pastor of the greatest church that's in a basement in the world. And so my first Sunday here was November 3rd, 2013, and things looked a whole lot different around here than they look now. For instance, I had hair. No, I'm not lying. Here's a picture. Do you know what this means? This means you all stress me out. For real. But in 2013, listen, I had no business coming here and being the campus pastor here. And I say I had no business coming here and being the campus pastor here is because I had a business degree. And say, I didn't go to pastor school, all right, and that's called seminary. One of my favorite pastors calls it cemetery. But speaking of cemetery, our church, Bay Shore Rehoboth, we were on our last leg. We were kind of like the Dallas Cowboys in 2013. Things are not looking good. This is true, there were 17 people who was coming to our church in 2013. 17 people, and 15 of them were volunteers. They had to be here. The other two was my wife and my 10-day-old daughter. That's it, all right? And I think that's why they sent the guy with a business degree down here. They're like, well, he can't mess it up that bad, you know, so there's only 17 people. Now, there's a little dispute about if there were 17 people here. Kate Weiss is one of the original people that was part of that group of 17, and she tells me, I think we have a picture of Kate. Kate tells me that there were 14 people here, but I'm a pastor, and so I got to exaggerate a little bit. I do it for the Lord, you know. But whether there was 14 or 17 people here, look around. It is packed. And does anybody feel a little claustrophobic right now? Do some of you wish we go back to social distancing right now? Right? Can we go back to 17 people and social distancing? And listen, the answer is no, never. And here's why. We'll put this on the screen. There are, I think we'll have this for the screen. There are 23,769 people within 5 miles of our basement doors. And I want to party in heaven with 100% of them. Come on, somebody. All of them. And so because of you, this place is packed. I mean, just look around. It is packed. Now, it makes me think of Easter. After our Easter services, Brent, which is Kate's husband, he texted me for 2 reasons. Number one, to tell me that there was 14 people when I started, not 17. The second thing is he sent me a video of him leaving the parking lot on Easter. So check out this video. This is him leaving the parking lot. You see this line? How many of you was anybody in this line? Right here. Anybody in this line? You get it. Your mansion grows by 10% if you stand in line to go to church. Your mansion in heaven grows, all right? But 17 people did not show up on Easter this past year. 530, let me get it right, 536 people showed up on Easter. Which is amazing. I tell you that for 2 reasons. Number one, so you don't tell the fire marshal. And number 2, to tell you thank you. Thank you. And we'll put this, I'm going to get emotional today. We'll put this on the screen. We can go to the next one. Because of you inviting and giving and volunteering and showing up here, our basement is the coolest and fullest basement I have ever been in. Because of you. So I want you to turn to 3 people and tell them, because of you. Even if you don't know them, make a friend. We're friends around here. Tell them, because of you. Because of you. High five them. And that, some of you are making lunch plans, which is cool, okay? I'm glad. Some of you just got a date out of that, but that phrase, because of you, I actually use that intentionally because it makes me think of a verse in 1 Thessalonians where church planter Paul is talking to this brand new church, and all these people have tons of love for Jesus. And what he says to them is exactly what I want to say to you all. And this is what he says in 1 Thessalonians 3, verse 9. How we thank God for you. Because of you, we have great joy as we enter God's presence. And I just want to say, I thank God for every single one of you. And because of you, and we'll put this is the whole point, I'll put this on the screen. Because of you, God is changing lives at Bay Shore. Because of you, God is changing lives at Bay Shore. And to show you all that this is true and to drag this out as long as humanly possible, our team is going to come up here and tell you some of the life change that's happened around here because of you. Now, first off, it's going to be Pastor Cotter's going to come up in a second. Let me just tell you, Pastor Cotter is the greatest next steps pastor in the world, the greatest right-hand man a man can ask for in the world. Cotter's been making our basement better since 2019. I'm so thankful for you. And he is an Eagles fan, so not everybody's perfect. But put your hands together for Pastor Cotter.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. Well, like Joel said, my name is Cotter, and my wife, Emily, and Emily's in the back, and we started coming here. Our very first day was a little over 6 years ago, and we came here because my niece and nephew were getting baptized that day, and we got a photo of them getting baptized we can put up. That's my nephew, Rowan, getting baptized, and we came to church that Sunday just to see them, and while we were here for that hour, we both left, and when we got in the car, we said, we need to come to this church every Sunday. We need to be a part of this church because God is doing crazy, crazy things at this church. And switching gears a little bit, I was having a conversation with somebody a couple days ago, and they were talking to me, and they said, I just don't really see the point of church. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand what church is all about. And so I started telling them about my friend Chris. And so let me introduce you to my friend Chris. This is Chris. Chris is a dad. Chris is a husband. Chris is a paramedic. Chris is amazing. And so Chris started coming to church in 2020. And Chris came to church because somebody told him, hey man, you really need to be in church. And so Chris came that day, not because he wanted to, but because somebody told him he needed to be here. And Chris came with an exit plan, okay? He wasn't even in the parking lot yet, and he already had a way out so that he didn't have to stay for the whole service. So he said that he was gonna bring his church or his kids with him to church that day so that he could use them as his excuse to leave early. And so Chris came, and it was back in 2020, so he got walked to his seat, and his kids went back to kids' church, and he was just looking for a reason to leave the whole time, but the 70 minutes that he was in this basement totally changed his life. He came on Veterans Day. Chris is a veteran, and we thank him so much for that. And because he's a veteran, and he came on Veterans Day, he got a half dozen Krispy Kreme donuts while he was here that day. And while he was in here, he connected so much with Joel's message. While his kids were in the back in kids' church, they had an amazing time. And so he went out to pick his kids up after church, and it was not what he expected. He had a really good time. And his kids said, Dad, we need to come back every single Sunday. And so a couple days after that, I reached out to Chris because he handed in one of our welcome home cards, our guest cards. And so I said, hey man, you want to go grab coffee? I'd love to learn some more about you. Now, Chris reluctantly agreed because he thought that I was going to tell him that he was not welcome at our church. That he really thought that he did not fit in, that he didn't fit the mold, and he didn't think that he was going to be welcome here. So he thought that I was politely asking him to coffee to tell him, hey, thanks for coming, but maybe find another church. That definitely wasn't what I was there to do. I was there to tell him how much he matters and just learn about his story. And so, at Bay Shore, we're not a church where we tell people you can't come here. At Bay Shore, we're a church where anyone can go and where everyone can grow. Everyone is welcome in this building, no matter where they are at on their faith journey. And I love this. There's this verse in the book of Titus that explains this so well. And we'll put this on the screen. This comes from Titus 2, verse 11. It says, for the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people. Say that with me. All people. God's salvation is for everyone. And that's a miracle because we all need it. Whether our lives are extremely messy, whether we feel like our life is completely put together, we all need God's grace. And because of Jesus, we can experience that grace. And so Chris came in that first Sunday, and he realized he needed God's grace. And in that moment, he decided to make some changes in his life. He cut some things out of his life that were not fitting with somebody who was living for Jesus. So he cut some of these negative things out of his life, and he started to replace them with things that were good. He started reading his Bible. He started reading his Bible with his family. He started praying with his family, and he started making church a priority. And since Chris's first day here, ever since that first day, he has been growing in his faith. A few weeks after he started attending, he came to our Next Steps classes to learn more about the church, to get more involved. He joined some volunteer teams. In 2021, he got baptized. We got a photo of Chris's baptism. Just an amazing moment. And so now Chris is a part of several volunteer teams here now at the church. He serves as a greeter, sometimes inside, sometimes outside. And the reason he serves as a greeter is because he felt welcomed on his first day at church. He walked in and he was like, wow, these people care about me. And so he serves as a greeter because he wants to be that person for everybody else that is coming to church. Chris has led small groups. He leads our men's camping trips. He is leading his family and their relationships with Jesus. He's going to school right now, a Christian school, to learn more about Jesus so that he can be more effective in his ministry. And Chris is so amazing. He's a paramedic, like I said earlier. And in that job, he experiences so many heavy things, so much heavy stuff that he has to take home, and so do his coworkers. And so Chris wrote a book talking about all of the things that he's been through in that field of work and how heavy it is and how God was the solution to it. how God brought him joy in the midst of all the things that he's seen and experienced. And so he wrote this book, and it has changed so many people's lives in that field. He is inviting his coworkers to church, bringing them from an hour away just to be at church. His life has totally changed, and that started on the first day that he came here. He walked through the doors of this basement thinking that he was going to experience rejection, just looking for a way out, and instead he found a family. And so I reached out to Chris a few weeks ago to let him know that I was thinking about sharing his story, and he sent something back that I really want to share with you. So let's put this on the screen. He said, "Throughout all of my life hiccups, speed bumps, and victories, I have a family right here in the basement, either lifting me up or cheering me on, never looking down on me. I've been through a gauntlet of battling forces in my life and have come out of them closer to God because I've had Jesus modeled to me right here every Sunday." Chris's life and his family's lives, they've been changed because when they came to Bay Shore, they felt loved. They felt cared for. I hope you guys see the impact that each one of you have in Chris's stories and in the stories of so many other people. Your giving allows us to bless veterans like Chris on Veterans Day with donuts. You volunteering your time and energy to be a greeter in the parking lot or in the lobby, that makes people like Chris feel welcomed here. You volunteering your time and energy in our kids' rooms to make amazing experiences for our kids means that when someone like Chris comes, he has to come back because his kids had such an amazing time. Because of you, God is changing lives here at Bay Shore. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have our kids director, Kristen. Now, let me just tell you about Kristen. She also has been making our basement better since 2019, been on the team since 2019. Kristen can sing better than Whitney Houston. She can preach the paint off the walls, but she does like the Steelers. And so we all have things we have to work out. But put your hands together for our kids director, Kristen.
Sorry. Oh, thank you. Go Steelers. Okay. I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to share about the life change that's happening here in the basement. Like Pastor Joel said, I've been working here at Bay Shore for almost 6 years, but before working here, I attended for about 2 years, and I knew coming here that I needed my life to be changed. And number one, I needed God, but number two, I needed people to help fulfill my purpose, and which is why I'm honored to share with you guys 4 women who have drastically changed my life forever. Meet the Clean Team. Yes, the Clean Team, the AKA the Squeaky Clean Sisters. It's Barb, Janet, Lori, and Lisette. Every week these ladies come and they clean the church. So it's prepped for the small groups that happen during the week, and it's prepped for Sunday for everyone. So let me introduce a little bit about each woman. First one is Barb. Can't even. Why'd you have to sit in the front row, though? She is my kids ministry Robin to my Batman. She helps me out so much. Her story is that she went to Millsboro campus at 13 years old. She was brought there with a friend, and after time has drifted away, and she drifted away from Christ into her teens and young adult era. When she was 25, winter was coming, and she started getting seasonal depression. She couldn't get herself out of it, and at this point, also being a mom of 2 small girls, she knew that she needed to find a church, and she remembered the one she went to when she was 13 years old. And when she searched Bay Shore Community Church, she found that Rehoboth had one, which is 3 minutes from her house. And so she knew this was a sign, and she walked in, and she never walked out. The people in this church made her stay. It was the people of this church. Barb did next steps. She was baptized. Serves in kids ministry, the Clean Team. She helps with events. And you will see her in the second row with her arms in the air and her eyes closed, praising God so hard. Next, we have Janet. Janet is Southern Mexican, and I say that because if you ever hear this woman talk, it's like the best thing ever. You have the North Carolina, and she's Spanish, so it's like a whole lot of sass. It's so great. Her and her amazing husband, Jay, moved to Delaware because of his work, and she was so scared to leave the relationships behind because she had such solid friendships, but she also helped with her church. And her prayer was that she would move here and find like-minded people. And when she went on a Facebook group to say that she was looking for a church, people on top of people on top of people commented and said, "Come to Bay Shore Community Church." She watched online, came together in person a year ago, and to see what the basement was all about. It was undeniably our church, she said. And the second that we left, we were in agreement that this was our new church home. Now Janet opens her home for Girls' Day or nights with meals, and we do life together. And as Janet would say, life wasn't meant to be done alone. Thank God for small groups. Meet Lori. It's my favorite picture. I loved finding that one. Lori is a woman that you can hear down the hallway. She has such high energy and long drawn words, but she is the person that you want to run to when you need a friend. Her voice, I can't get through this. Her voice comforts me on Sunday mornings and helps me to slow down. 2 years ago, Lori moved here on her own after she lost her husband, and she wanted the chance to start over and open up a new chapter. And with no friends and no family here, she wanted to get connected and find relationships. And new church would be the best way to do that. She watched us online, and she loved it. I wanted to check it out, so she drove on a Saturday until she realized that all she could see was a sub shop, and she was quite confused. But she said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot." And in her words, she said, the transformation between Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon was insane. The spirits and the hearts for God in this building is so incredible, and I don't know where I'd be without this church. This group has given me life. Meet Lisette. She is where's she at? I love you. She's our prayer warrior. She's the woman who lays hands over us. She is also Bay Shore Rehoboth's invite card evangelistic sister. So you see a Bay Shore invite card, it's Lisette. She moved here with her husband and daughter 3 years ago. And during that 5-hour drive from New York to here, she prayed to God that she would find a church that would be Bible teaching just like her last. And as she was almost to her destination, she came through Route 1 and saw a big billboard that said Bay Shore Community Church. And she knew that was a sign from God that this was going to be the church that she needed. In tears, when I was talking to Lisette, Lisette explained her first experience here and how the message from Pastor Joel struck her heart like it was made directly for her. I think we can all agree that those moments happen for each of us. She said, "I felt the Holy Spirit so much in that space, the worship, the message, the people, and I knew this place was meant for me." These ladies will stand on a ladder and they'll paint a wall. They'll be on their hands and knees and scrub a floor. They'll spend hours vacuuming and washing seats, and they will do it with Janet's task schedule and delegating, Barb's music speaker on blast, and her dancing down the hallways, Lisette's morning opening prayer, and Lori's, "I got another hour in me, give me something else." But because of you and your tithing has helped us save for the big billboard that Lisette saw, to know that there was a church that was waiting for them. And because of you, Barb's girls were able to go into kids ministry when she was in a dark place with volunteers that taught them about Jesus, while she got to sit in service and remember her worth and that she's loved. And she gave me the okay to say this, but this is the first Christmas that Barb is going to be sober in 10 years. Because of you, Janet found a place that she feels loved and peace, and was rest assured by the people in Bay Shore that this is a place that she could come. Because of you, the way you open the doors to to this place. You smile the way you live on people. A woman like Lori, who lost her best friend and who feels alone, finds community, friendships, and her village. Because of you, God is changing lives at Bay Shore.
We really need tissues in the seats. We kind of did not think that through. Hey, last but not least, our newest kid on the block, who has the newest kid on the team. Is baby Williams 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old? He doesn't, listen, he doesn't even know. It's a wonder he's here. You know, Nate doesn't sleep anymore. He had his videos at 2 a.m. He has diaper changing calluses, and he still has more energy than all of us, which is ridiculous. But let's give it up for Nate, our creative pastor.
Thank you, guys. Well, good morning, everyone. Man, there is a lot of people here, bro. My goodness. All right, so let me introduce you to my I'm going to just hop right to it. My friend, Jen. Wait, that's my wife. Hold on. Sorry, wrong Jen. Media mixed up. There we go. Okay, that's the wrong Jen again. Hold on. No. What are you guys doing back there? No. Definitely not. Okay, there we go. Okay, Jen. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. All right. So this is Jen Reed. There's a lot of Jens out there. This is Jen Reed. This is a picture of us. Easter of last year. A lot of fun. You probably recognize this picture because it's on our album cover, the Christ Girls. Album coming soon. We just got to write some music. So, actually, I have a picture of so Jen is a band leader, and she's been serving on the team for almost 2 years now. So woot woot in March, 2 years. And I actually have a picture of one of the first times that Jen was singing. Okay, so can you see her? You can't. All right, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. All right, so this yellow shadowy figure in the darkness is actually, that's Jen, okay? She still won't let me live that down, and I apologize from 2 years ago for having you in the darkness. But little did I know that when this picture was taken, Jen was going through some darkness in her life for real. She was in the middle of a nasty divorce, and a custody battle was crippling her. She felt like she had become a shell of herself, and she was just trying to survive. And so there were a bunch of times in 2022 where she was just trying to get through the day. And so a month before this picture was taken, actually our worship leader for the past 10 years, Bo Dukes, he had passed the baton to me, quite literally. So let's see.
Mic 1 is now yours.
Look at that. There we go. All right, so it was now my turn to lead the team. And so what I was wanting to do is I was wanting to add people to the team. So I'd shared that with Kristen. Where are you? Right there in front of me. Shared that with Kristen. And Kristen was like, all right, got it. I'll be on the lookout. If there's anybody that might be down to sing, I'll be on the lookout. So Jen reaches out to Jen. There's so many Jens. Kristen reaches out to Jen and says to Jen, hey, Nate's looking to add people on the team. You should think about it. And Jen was like, okay, I will think about it. And according to Jen, initially she was thinking about completely blowing it off and not reaching out at all. But the Lord kept bringing it back to her mind. So think of like a popcorn kernel stuck in the way back. You know, you try to get it, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't get it out there. You feel it, you can't get rid of it. It's not going anywhere. That's what's happening to Jen with the idea of joining the team. So in Jen's own words, she said, I was never someone who was confident that I was hearing God's voice or hearing him speak to me or guiding me in any sort of direction in an audible way. But as that day progressed, I started to feel that's exactly what was happening. I decided I could ignore it or I could listen and follow. And so she says to Kristen, hey, I'm down to do it, but Kristen, please, I want to be in the background. I don't want to sing, in the spotlight, none of that. And according to Jen, the first Sunday I had her lead a song, so that's on me. I'm sorry about that. It wasn't long after that conversation that I had a conversation. Where's Rob? Me and Rob had a conversation. And Rob said, hey man, I think we need like some more, we need a staple in this team, another vocalist. I'm suggesting Jen Reed. And I was like, Okay, like sure. So I took Rob's advice. I reached out to Jen. I said, hey, would you be down to sing like on a weekly basis? And the message, like it sent immediately, yes, all caps, yes, I'm in. And so each Sunday, Jen started singing on a regular basis. And every Sunday she asked me, is there anything that I could work on? Is there anything that I can improve on? And I was met with this picture, all right? So let's zoom in again. Let's zoom in once more. All right, so I don't know if she's hungry or angry, a combination of both. I'm not sure, but I said, hey, maybe you should smile more. And this is Jen's words, not mine. Jen said, I have a bad case of RBF. I thought it was pretty good this week. Now, if you don't know, RBF stands for recently bothered face. And that's what I believe it stands for. Joel, I'm sorry. All right, so Jen responded. After I said that, Jen responded, and she said, I'll definitely be able to do that because since singing on the worship team, I've got something to smile about. And so I asked her last week, I said, what does being on the worship team mean to you? And she said, it helped me grow closer to God. It's brought passion back to my life and friends that make me better, not just at music, but a better Christian, a better person, a better mom. Being a part of this team holds me accountable. I feel like it's brought me back to life. Jen has become an integral part of what I do every single week. You help me pick out the songs and schedule the band and all that. I am so grateful for you. And so I showed you an early picture of Jen. I'm going to show you a recent one, but Jen's now leading a small group for single moms with a bunch of awesome ladies in this church and some that are outside the church. And this was a picture of Jen last week. Look at her smiling. And so I want to share a verse with you. In John 8:12, it says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I'm so glad that Jen said yes to what the Lord put on her heart almost 2 years ago and stepped into the light. Matthew 5:14 says, you are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Jen, that's what you're doing each Sunday when you're up here singing. That's what you're doing when you're leading your small group. You're letting your light shine before others. And I'm so thankful that you didn't ignore what God put on your heart 2 years ago. And because of you guys, because of you giving and for you guys showing up here and coming up to Jen after service and saying, girl, that was good. You were singing. You make people like Jen feel comfortable to be up here and try something new. And because of you, Jen, and because of you guys, God's changing lives at Bay Shore. Thank you.
I can't comment on any of those stories because I am not emotionally prepared. So we're just going to... But those were 6 people's stories. 6 people, because a clean team's 4. Every one of you and every person who's watching online or in Overflow right now, you have your own Bay Shore Rehoboth Jesus story. You have it. Now, maybe you're like, well, no, Pastor Joe, I just came because my grandkid was singing up on stage. It's the first time I've ever been in his church. I don't have my Bay Shore Rehoboth Jesus story. Yeah, you do. It's happening right now, and you don't even know it. And here's why. Because I believe it is a spiritual impossibility to walk into this place, experience Jesus, and not be changed. Which is why more people have said yes to Jesus in our basement this year than any year since we've opened. More people have been baptized this year in our basement this year than any year since we've opened. More people are volunteering here. We have 150 volunteers at this campus. At this campus. We have more of you giving, more of you showing up than ever before. And so because of you inviting and giving and volunteering and showing up, God is changing lives at Bay Shore. Just look around. Just do me a favor, look around. If you can see it, just say, whoa, God. Whoa, God. You got it. Because we started with 17 people. And guys, men in the room, that one bathroom used to be enough. But I think we have a picture of the line going to the bathroom last weekend. I think this is the line going to the bathroom last weekend. Yeah, I think that's... Listen, when we go above ground, many more bathrooms, Ben. So many bathrooms. Urinals, maybe. I don't know. Let's not get crazy. And maybe you're like, do we really need a bigger building for more people and with more toilets? Yes. Yes, and every once in a while somebody will say to me, Joel, isn't Bay Shore big enough already? And I just kind of want to gently say to you, no, never. Because as long as one person out of the 23,679 people that live 5 miles within our basement doors, as long as one of them doesn't know Jesus, we will never be big enough, ever. It can't happen. Which is why we need a bigger building. And so in 2020, we launched a capital campaign called Go Above Ground so that we could get out of the basement and we could get respectable people. And we've been dreaming this up for 4 years. And are you ready for the Christmas present? Are you ready to I could drag it out longer. We could do an open mic. Okay, no, you're like, okay. But I want to show you what we're going to do because of you. And so here's the future of Bay Shore. 2024 has been a year for our church that I've never seen God so clearly as I've seen him this year.
God specifically called us to that Rehoboth area. So this project really is about planting roots even deeper in Rehoboth.
Bay Shore Rehoboth was the first extra campus that Bay Shore ever planted. And it was a renovation project when we went into the basement.
We went into that basement and it was just, this a terrible looking place. But you know what? I could really feel and sense that God was going to do something in that basement.
This is going to be the first time that Bay Shore puts cement in the ground that is our campus. The basement has been a special place, and this place that we're going to, it's going to be even better.
The foyer is going to be nice and roomy. We also have a really nice newcomers and next steps room that I think has been missing from the current campus.
For over 10 years, Bay Shore's been in the basement, sort of hidden away from people being able to find us easily. And so it's exciting to think that people are going to be able to see us as they drive by.
Some of my favorite times at Bay Shore are just conversations with our people in the lobby. We have an outdoor space that we're having on the back side of the lobby that has a fireplace and is just like a second space to hang out. And so I think that's going to be something that I've never seen at a church, and I'm really excited to just hang out with people.
This is the latest and best evolution of Bay Shore. It's not here yet, but it is easily the best thing we've ever done.
I feel like the basement has a really unique feel. It makes everybody close, it's intimate, it's just a very unique spot to have church. And so when we started looking at designing the new building, we didn't want to lose that feel that people have when they walk in and you feel connected to people just because of the space that you're in. And so the new building has a lot of that built into it where you're still going to walk in and you're still going to be able to not get lost in a crowd. In the auditorium, we're going to build a stage so that every seat is close to the stage, just like in the basement.
That was the reason that we brought the stage out into the sanctuary so that people are around and it's kind of a 360 experience.
I'm really excited about Bay Shore Kids. Finally, there's going to be more space for our kids, and there's going to be 6 rooms in the new building that are all age specific. What that allows us to do is it allows us to have smaller age ranges in each room. And so we can really tune into kids at what age they are and just teach them about Jesus on their level at their specific age level. We're not going to lose anything in the new building that we have currently. We're just going to be able to reach more people, and it's just going to be the same Bay Shore Rehoboth in a bigger space.
This new project, this new building is about making space for those people, that they can find a place to serve, a place to belong, a place to use their talents and their gifts and all the things that God has called them to do, that they can experience that.
It's just that God is doing something great and we get to be a part of it. When you're surfing, what's really cool is it's not you creating the energy, it's you catching the wave. And right now, Rehoboth campus is catching the wave of what God is doing.
I just want to see young families and older folks, messy season life right in the middle with little kids and teenagers. I want it to just be this gathering of what Rehoboth looks like.
The basement is bursting at the seams. This new building needs to be built so that we can reach more people.
I was there a few weeks ago and I was like pasted against the wall. There's no place to sit. But just as the basement's filled up time and time again, this new campus is going to fill up again and again and again as well, because God is doing something.
I want Rehoboth to be the hardest place in the world for somebody to go to hell, because there's just this church that's anchored there and is sharing Jesus. It's not fake. It's not produced. What we see every week at Bay Shore is not normal. It's God just doing something amazing. And if God can do that in a basement, can you imagine what he can do when we're above ground?
I remember his first sermon. And his first sermon was, don't be afraid to pray audacious prayers. Pray something incredible that only God could do. And how ironic that was his first message. That message really was setting the tone and setting the spirit for what's going to happen and has been happening in Rehoboth, Bay Shore for a long time.
It went from a dream to this is the future of our campus. It is not just a vision anymore. It is happening because of you.
Jess, you mind putting up that picture of the rendering? Was it worth the wait? I mean, we're still going to wait a little bit, but and I talk for a living. All I know to say right now is God is so, so good. He's so good. And I knew I wouldn't know what to say right now, so I wrote down what to say so I wouldn't forget what to say. And I just want to say two things. Number one, thank you. Thank you for every single person who has prayed for this. Thank you. For every single person who has given to this, thank you. For every single person who's gotten me in the hallway and have been like, Joel, we need a bigger building. Okay, we can do this. You need to dream. You need to have faith, Pastor Joel. Thank you. To my dad who planted us in 2011, thank you. We wouldn't be here without you. To my brother, I don't know if you noticed, my brother was in the video. My brother's he's designed this. Thank you, Tim, for designing the coolest campus I've ever seen in my life. To the staff here, to my wife, to every single one of you from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. And the second thing I want to tell you is, I hope you believe what's on the back of this t-shirt. The best is still ahead. Guys, we are a teenager as a campus. We just turned it, that's why we painted this place black, because we're a teenager. And God is just getting started here. Why? Because the best is still ahead. Now I'm a little jealous. The team all got to tell a story about somebody. I didn't get to tell a story about anybody, so I thought I'd end by telling a story about somebody. Can I tell a story? This will be it, and then we'll cry and eat cookies or something. We're way too long. We'll figure that out. All right, this story is about a guy named Mike. And Mike's wife got invited to come to church in this weird basement church. And so she was all excited, and she went home and she said to her husband, Mike, she was like, hey, Mike, I got invited to go to this church. It's going to be really cool. You want to come with me? It's in a basement. And Mike was like, it's in a basement? No. He might have said a 4-letter word and then no. Probably that's what happened. So she came and she sat right back here, and she sat by herself, and she walked out and she's like, man, I really like that church. And she went home and she was like, Mike, you got to come with me. I had a great time. It's not like a normal church. It's a weird church. You should come with me. And so she wore him down. She nagged him to death. And so one Sunday, Mike came to this church and he walked out and he was like, that was weird. Some of you know what that's like. It was weird. And so, but the weird thing is he just kept on coming back. And then Mike started acting weird. Like Mike went out and he bought a Bible. And then one morning, Mike's wife saw him sitting in a recliner chair in the living room reading the Bible. Weird. And then on a baptism party Sunday, they were driving to church as a family, and Mike's son from the back seat said, "Hey, Dad, are you going to get baptized today? It's baptism party Sunday." And he was like, "Heck no, I'm going to get baptized today. That's weird." But guess who didn't know they were getting baptized but got baptized that day? Mike. And here's his picture. I'll show you Mike now. And so now, Mike went from not wanting to be in this church to getting baptized in this church. And it wasn't just Mike who got baptized. His wife got baptized that day as well. And so now you might know who we're talking about. Now we got Kristen and Mike up here. And in 2019, I needed a kids director. And so who do you think I called? Kristen. And so I hired Kristen. The weird church hired Kristen. And Mike thought that was weird. But then a few years ago, Mike invited me to lunch, and he said he'd pay for me. And when anybody says they'll pay for me, I'll go. And so we're at lunch, and Mike said, "My life has changed." And he said, "My dream is to work at the weird church." And so we hired Mike, and he is now our facilities director over all 3 campuses. And when we needed somebody to lead Celebrate Recovery here, guess who volunteered to lead it? Mike. And the reason I'm telling you about Mike is because, do you know who our project manager is going to be for our brand new building when we go above ground? Mike. And we have a saying around here that Jesus changes everything. And if you don't believe it, look at Mike. Ask Mike. And so, why are we going above ground? It's not because we want a big building. It's because we want to see people's lives continually change for Jesus. That is our why. And because of you, it's going to happen. And so I'm so excited about the future. Why? Because the best is still ahead. The best is still ahead. Now, every Sunday, including this Sunday, we give you an opportunity to say yes to Jesus, because you may be Mike. You may have walked in here and didn't know you're just coming to just watch your kid or grandkid up here. But maybe you've heard some of these stories and you're like, "Hey, I want to change my life." And Jesus is the way to do that. And if you want to step over that line of faith and become a Jesus follower today, this is the best day in the world to do that. So if you just bow your heads, and while no one's looking around, if you just want to accept Jesus today, if you would raise your hand, this is a safe place. This is a place where grace is free. I see that hand. I see these hands. Here's what we're going to do. If you're a Jesus follower, I want you to say this out loud. If you just raise your hand, let's say this out loud as well. Dear Jesus, today I'm accepting you as my Savior. I believe you're the Son of God. And I believe I'm a sinner. But you died on the cross for my sins. And you walked out of the grave alive for my forgiveness. I receive that today. In Jesus' name, amen. And let's put our hands together for the people who walked over that line of faith today.